let's do a little exercise together. Take a moment and think of your absolute, most desired sexual fantasy. Your go-to, if you catch my drift. Now, don't go saying it out loud. Don't close your eyes and really get into it. This is not that kind of exercise. I just want you to identify what that sexual fantasy is. Now I want you to think about what it would be like to actually bring that fantasy to life. If you've already acted it out, good for you, keep doing your thing. But if you haven't been able to, think of what gets in the way. Does the idea of telling your partner fill you with dread? Or maybe you have an unopened sexy pirate outfit stashed away in the closet because you couldn't get over the awkwardness of actually putting it on. Maybe you're barely even having sex in your relationship, so the idea of acting out a sexual fantasy feels so out of tune with where your sex life is at. If you found it daunting to even think of bringing your sexual fantasy to life, you are not alone. In fact, you're in the majority. One of the largest studies on sexual fantasies showed that about 97% of people have sexual fantasies. So basically, everyone. And of that 97%, close to 80% want to act on them. But then less than 20% actually do. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's time to change that. My name is Lina Al-Khatib, and I'm a relationship and sex therapist. I want to let you in on a tool that'll help you own your sexual fantasies and get one step closer to bringing them to life through something I call a sexual theme park. A nifty metaphor designed to help you figure out how to turn your sexual fantasies into sexual realities. You see, in the thousands of hours I've spent working with couples, the most common thing I hear is, we want to bring back the spark. You know the one, that raw sexual energy that's ever present at the start of a relationship. It's amazing. And the reality is, if you're in a committed, long-term, monogamous relationship, there's a high chance you are sexually bored. Throw in kids and whole new ballgame. That cute pitter-patter of little feet running to your room makes it really hard to have good sex in that same room. Trust me, I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they pitter-patter at the most unfortunate times. It's not exactly conducive to sexual creativity. And so the rut kicks in. One study shows that about half of us start to feel sexual boredom between the first and third years of marriage. That's pretty scary when you've committed to exclusively having sex with each other for the next 65 or 70 years. No, that just won't do, because it's never just sex. Studies and, well, common sense show that sexual satisfaction is a huge part of overall relationship satisfaction. In short, sex matters. I would venture a guess that one or two of you here can relate to that. I mean, I'm a sex therapist, and my partner and I still struggle with making sure sex doesn't fall prey to a life of work and kids and gymnastics and swim classes and chores, and then for some reason even more gymnastics. I don't know. When sex gets sacrificed, we end up feeling so far away from each other, even when we're just 20 inches apart. And it can feel so disheartening when your once hot and steamy sex life turns into check-the-box sex. That's if you're even having sex at all. Acting out your sexual fantasies can be a really powerful way to breathe some energy into your sex life. Brings back novelty, brings back play. It's a chance for your partner to surprise you and for you to surprise yourself. It's a way to feel things you don't get to feel on a day-to-day basis. It's a way to feel alive and connected, excited and engaged. How's that for a spark? So, we know sex is important, but we're bored. Our sexual fantasies can help with that big time. We want to act them out, but then we don't. Now, we can talk about the many reasons why we don't. Our society has a knack for burdening our sexuality with shame, judgment, restrictions, and misinformation. All very real, very powerful barriers. But for those of us that feel curious, willing, and able to act them out, Sometimes the barrier is much more covert. We don't know how to do it. And so that's precisely what we're going to talk about today, the how. And when I say how, I specifically mean how to understand and communicate your sexual fantasies in a way that'll actually make them seem doable. See, when we talk about our fantasies, we tend to do so in very surface-level ways. We often lack the language and the understanding of the true sensory and psychological experience we're seeking from our fantasies. It's the difference between the fantasy being, I bought a set of handcuffs, and the fantasy being, I want to know what it feels like to give up control. I want to be at the mercy of the pleasure you want to give me. And so what happens is, we run out and we buy the sexy outfits and the kinky toys and the gadgets, but then we don't put them to use. What my clients will often say after a botched attempt is, we just felt so silly. Or, we tried, but it was so awkward, and so we stopped. And for anyone that has ever squeezed into a latex jumpsuit, that is a whole lot of effort for very little reward. What it comes down to is that without the understanding of what you're actually seeking from your fantasies, any attempt to act it out will flop because it's really hard to get into something if you don't know what that something is. Very few people, even the most sexually confident, are able to say, hey, honey, after you're done unloading the dishwasher, you think you could help me feel completely and totally dominated? It's just not how we're used to talking about or even thinking about sex and pleasure. This was coming up so often in my sessions, it was clear we needed a more accessible way to talk about the feelings we're seeking from our fantasies. And so, thanks to all my exceptionally creative clients, the sexual theme park was born. The sexual theme park is a metaphor designed to help you take the familiar sensory and psychological experiences you seek at a theme park and apply them to the not-so-familiar realm of sexual fantasies, allowing you to understand and communicate your fantasies in a more in-depth way. Put simply, the feelings you seek at a theme park are not all that different from what you might be seeking out in your fantasies. So why not borrow that language and understanding to get better at owning your sexual fantasies? So why a theme park? One, it's a setting that is universally seen as a place of pleasure. It's about fun for the sake of fun. There's absolutely no logical reason why you would ever need to come barreling down a 400-foot drop at 100 miles per hour. You don't need to, but you want to. Two, it's a setting in which you intuitively engage in sensory and psychological experiences. You go there to feel things, and you know exactly what you're trying to feel when you get in line for a roller coaster. You're seeking a thrill. It's easy to talk about your heart pounding as the roller coaster goes up and the rush when it comes down, or the click, click, click of the coaster going up, because you're fully aware of the power of the build-up, or theme park foreplay, if you will. It's also a setting where you know what experiences you don't want. You're able to say, you know what? I'm going to pass on the spinning teacups of death, but afterwards, I'm all about the carnival games. I love a challenge. The entire time you're at a theme park, you're making decisions about what experiences you want and don't want. And three, chances are if you're going to a theme park, you're going with other people. So there's a relational component there that's really important. It's not enough to know what you want to experience. You also need to know how to navigate this theme park with people that have different preferences, interests, and tolerance levels. So 3 things about theme parks. You go there for pleasure, you tap into sensory and psychological experiences that you want, and you navigate a wide range of different wants and needs. Those happen to be key steps for bringing a sexual fantasy to life. And the 3 steps for how you would use this metaphor to design your sexual theme park experience. Starting with step 1, you go there for pleasure. This is where you and your partners make sure you're all in it for the same reason. You want to feel good, whatever that may look like. Without mutual consent and mutual pleasure, none of this matters. But sometimes feeling good can get confused with feeling easy. And I want to make one thing clear. Playing around with this metaphor may not feel easy to start with. You might fumble, you might feel uncomfortable. you probably won't get it right away. But if you can work through the kinks, and let yourself push through the discomfort, you just might get to a point where your deepest desires are within reach. It's kind of worth it in my book. The second step in designing your sexual theme park is to design your rides. You can thank me later for avoiding any ride puns. This is where you and your partner think of the different rides you want to have in your theme park, with each ride tapping into a different sexual fantasy. To do so, you're answering the question of what sensory or psychological experience are your rides designed to elicit, using the language you already have from how you experience a theme park as your inspiration. Are you seeking excitement and thrill? Are you craving that powerful buildup? Maybe you're looking for a show. Is this about losing control or conquering a challenge? The possibilities are endless. And you can go in as much or as little detail as you'd like. Some people like to keep the description of the ride devoid of specifics, naming only the feelings they're seeking, allowing room to co-create what that might look like with their partners. Maybe you're insposed a roller coaster and you'd like to be teased, to slowly build up tension up until a certain point, followed by total release. For others, they like to get super specific. We're going the pirate route. I want to be the domineering pirate and you're the hot tavern wench that surrenders to my sexual prowess at sight. Regardless, the goal is to be able to name the feelings that you're seeking in an in-depth way. And for all of you sitting there thinking, we can barely squeeze in a quickie, let alone architect a titillating maritime sexcapade, just remember, theme parks aren't all roller coasters. Maybe for where you're at, a kiddie ride may be more realistic. It's all good. It's okay to start small and go slow, as long as you start somewhere. Once you've each designed your rides, the third and final step is to plan your itinerary. This is where you and your partner, you come together, you share your ride ideas, and you answer the question of, how do we want to navigate the sexual theme park together? Where do you want to start? Are there rides that you want to pass on or modify? Maybe you're down for some of the riskier rides, but you need some reassurance first. This might be a good time to share that you happen to have a sexy pirate outfit stashed away in your closet. Size small. So, now, I know what you're all thinking. I may be bored out of my mind in bed, but a 3-step process sounds like a lot of work. And look, there's no denying, doing this means putting in some extra effort, carving out time and space to tap into your desires, and having some vulnerable conversations. I know this may not sound sexy, but it might even require, wait for it, creating a shared calendar event to make time to do it. These aren't the types of conversations that happen spontaneously over chicken dinner 15 years into a relationship. And that's just fine, because there's actually something really special about making an effort. It sends a reminder to yourself and your partner that sex matters. And here's one more reminder for your exhausted brains. This doesn't have to be part of your daily Uber-packed schedule. You don't go to a theme park every day. It's a special occasion, a treat, the kind that leaves you buzzing with electric energy for days after and looking forward to the next trip, whenever that may be. Your sexual theme park is no different. Visit every week or every 6 months. You're still injecting a jolt of eroticism into your routine. And that jolt will carry you through the times when life gets in the way of good sex. When you design your sexual theme park together, you end up with a better, deeper understanding of your own and your partner's sexual fantasies. With that, you're able to access a more novel sexual repertoire to pull from. Maybe not every day or every week, but whenever the boring starts to rear its head, as it inevitably will here and there. Because life is life, and life is full. But imagine how it would feel to leave here today and say, no matter how full life is, how loud it is, how distracting it is, there's somewhere my partner and I can go to feel again. Enjoy your rides.